Pirates of the Beat, old school style. Music piracy is a big thing, and it reportedly costs the industry millions of dollars a year. Yet according to Johnny Rodriguez, copying music is nothing new. After all, they were doing it back in 1976. Just thinking about 1976 brings back memories, as I'm sure it will for anyone that was a teenager during the 70s. I had just turned 13 and was officially a teenager, and, like many young boys of my age, I was into my music. Joe Dolan's Lady in Blue was the big hit of the year, as was Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Kiki D, December 63, Oh What a Night by the Four Seasons, and of course Dancing Queen by ABBA. Back then we had three ways of listening to music. You listened to the radio, and Radio 5 was the most popular teen station, or listened to cassettes, or you put on a vinyl record. If you were lucky, then your parents owned a decent hi-fi set. It would normally consist of an amp, tuner for the radio, twin cassette deck, a record turntable, and 2 speakers. With a hi-fi you could listen to radio, cassette, or record. Yet it wasn't exactly portable. For that you needed a boombox, also known as a ghetto blaster. Some of these were massive and weighed a ton. Most of them would consist of a radio tuner and either 1 or 2 cassette decks. It was portable, gave pretty good sound, and went through batteries at a phenomenal rate. So how did we copy music back in those days? After all, we had no internet, computers, fancy software, iPods, MP3 players, or anything else. What we would do was copy music onto cassette tapes. Blank cassette tapes are either 60 or 90 minutes long. A 60-minute tape would give you 30 minutes on each side. A 90-minute tape would give you 45 minutes per side. There were a number of ways to record music onto a cassette tape. If you had a boombox or radio cassette player, you could record directly from the radio onto cassette. You would press the play and record buttons at the same time, and whatever was playing on the radio would be recorded onto the tape. There were, of course, a number of problems with this. Most of the radio presenters had a habit of talking during the intro of the song, and very often they would not play the song to the very end. I somehow suspect that this was in an effort to stop people at home recording the music. Look, you could still record it, but you'd have some idiot's voice over the song, or you'd not have the complete song. Another problem was that you had to be very accurate as to when you hit the play and record buttons. It was not uncommon to miss the first few seconds of the song while the tape got started. One of the best ways of copying music was to use a record player and cassette deck together. Most hi-fi systems allowed this option. You would then play the vinyl record while recording it at the same time onto a blank cassette. The third option was to use a double cassette deck and record from tape to tape. Nearly every album that was released would be available on both vinyl and pre-recorded cassette. What you would do is have someone buy the album, and then all their friends would copy it onto blank cassettes. Naturally, this was frowned upon by the recording companies because it was taking revenue away from them. What was even worse, however, was bootleg cassette tapes. These were blank tapes onto which an album had been copied. They would then make a color photostat of the original cassette cover and then sell them at about a third of the price of an original. So it's clear to see that music piracy has been around for a lot longer than most people think. In fact, if you're currently a teen, then there's a good chance that your parents are doing it. One of the favorite things to do was make compilation tapes. Most of the girls would have a compilation tape of their favorite love songs, while the guys may have compilation of rock, pop, or whatever type of music they were into at the time. It was also common for guys to make compilation tapes of their girlfriends. And when they broke up with you, the first thing they would do was record over your tape that you'd so lovingly put together for them. Cassette tapes were bulky, and the covers were flimsy and always seemed to break. The more you listened to a cassette, the more the tape would stretch. Eventually, it would sound as if the person was singing at half speed. Another problem is that you could record over the tape, and often your brother or sister would record over your favorite album. I clearly remember wanting to strangle my little sister because she went and recorded over one of my favorite albums. Yet cassettes were how you listened to your favorite music in the car, at the beach, or anywhere outdoors. These days you can get special cassette players and turntables so that you can transfer all your old cassettes and vinyl records onto PC and then burn them into MP3 format. I guess that these days we're spoiled for choice.